Welcome to today's edition of the Author's Corner, brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM The Word. I'm Roberta Foster. And today I welcome Katy Shelton to Author's Corner. She has written the book Forever Matters: How the Return of Jesus Completes You. And it's published by Iron Stream, and she'll tell you more about how to find this book and her others at the end of the program. Let me tell you a little bit about Katy. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree from Auburn University, and she's been published on numerous blogs, in magazines, and in newspapers. Katy considers it a privilege to have worked in the healthcare industry for many years. She was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, and now lives south of the city on Lake Martin. Katy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Roberta, for having me. It's such a privilege to be able to talk to you and your listeners.
Well, first of all, why in the world would you tackle the book of Revelation?
That is the question of the day,
yeah.
And a very good one. But I won't go too deep into the story, but my intrigue with Revelation started when I was in middle school, and my mother took me to a one-man play at Stanford University in Birmingham, Alabama, and it starred an actor named Tom Key, and he, believe it or not, had memorized the entire book of Revelation.
Wow.
Now, that is 22 chapters and roughly 400 verses, and don't ask me how he did that. It had to be some kind of a, photographic memory or something, but anyway, he got up and recited the book of Revelation, playing the part of John, who wrote the book, John the Apostle. And I left intrigued. I mean, as a maybe 12-year-old, I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I thought, this is something otherworldly, and I am fascinated. So that's where it started. But many years later, when my co-author Anna Nash and I began to write devotional books, and we wrote Christmas Matters and Easter Matters. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking in my mind, what if I could write a devotional based on the book of Revelation? And I thought, I know that's strange, it's odd, I don't know if I can do it. I wonder if I can find Jesus in the book of Revelation, and I wonder what he would be trying to tell us today, because it's in the Bible for a reason.
Sure.
The book of Revelation, is there for a reason. And I just basically set out on a journey to find out, is Jesus in that book, and what does he want to tell us today? Okay. So that was where I got started.
Well, fantastic. Well, one of the things you do in the book, it's called the Note to the Reader. You request that they read the corresponding chapter of Revelation before they read the devotion. Just a little, backstory. It's 22 chapters. Each chapter is one chapter of the book of Revelation. So why do you want people to read the actual scripture before they read your devotion?
Yes, so I would request that the reader read the chapter in the book of Revelation before they read the chapter in Forever Matters. The reason is because not that I'm trying to figure out every single detail and what it means and what it represents in the book of Revelation, because I can't do that, and nobody can do that. Well, none of us know exactly what it means. But we do know what Jesus is trying to tell us today. And so what I would request is just to read that chapter, and the chapters are very short, 22 chapters in all, but they're very short. It only takes a couple of minutes to read. And in fact, if you prefer to listen to, if you're an audio learner and you prefer to listen, I have recorded each chapter in the book of Revelation in a podcast called What Matters, Let's Talk About It. It's just it's on almost any podcast platform, but Spotify for sure. And you can go and just listen to me read that, and then you can read the chapter in Forever Matters. But this book is based on the Revelation. It's not based on my opinion or anyone else's opinion, but it's based on this book of Revelation.
Okay. Well, many people don't bother to read the book of Revelation because they say it's too hard to understand. And so how do you respond to that?
I would say I completely agree with you. And I would say also, when I first started beginning this writing process, I asked, and a friend of mine with me asked probably 100 people what word came to their mind when they thought of the book of Revelation. And let me tell you, we came up with almost 100 different words.
Huh.
So everybody feels differently about this book of Revelation.
Interesting.
And some people feel confusion or curiosity or darkness or light, fear or hope, and all of these are valid. But something about the Revelation stirs people inside. It makes people curious. It makes people think. And I would just say that I respect all these different opinions that people do have, but just pulling it back to what it really is about, my word would have been judgment. If somebody had asked me, what's the book of Revelation about, I would have said judgment. But what I've found out and what has surprised me the most about Revelation is that it is about judgment, but it's about hope. And it's about how God gives people chance after chance after chance to turn to Him. And so really it's about God's patience and forgiveness, and ultimately that makes it about His love.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that the book of Revelation was about God's love until I really studied it. And I expect that many, if not most people, don't know that also. And so that's really why I wrote the book.
Wonderful. Great explanation, and certainly will cause a stir and drive people to read the book of Revelation in your devotion all the more. So I'm talking today with Katy Shelton regarding the book Forever Matters, How the Return of Jesus Completes You. It's published by Iron Stream, and you're listening to Author's Corner. I'm Roberta Foster. Well, right in the beginning, which of course is the beginning of Revelation, it talks about the 7 churches. And one of the things I found very interesting was how you summarized each church from done to do and a promise. Tell us about that.
So that's the first part of the book of Revelation. And I really kind of divide the book into 4 parts. The first part being the letters from Jesus to the churches of the day. But to me, that is so applicable to us today. If you read through, it's chapters 2 and 3 in the book of Revelation, and 7 churches. And like you were saying, I saw very clear 3 parts to each letter of the church. What you're doing well, what you could be doing better, and a promise if you stay faithful to Jesus. And if you read through these 7 churches, they're all a little bit different, but they are so applicable. I mean, you can find yourself for sure in at least one of the churches. And it really is fascinating, because that's almost the part of Revelation that I think people tend to skip over. But it is, I think you could do a whole book or a whole Bible study just on the letters to the churches.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, speak to our listeners. How does your devotional help people who are actually anxious about the future and what the Revelation is actually going to bring?
So, yes, we're all anxious about the future in light of what is going on today, for sure. I don't know anyone who is not. But I would say read this book with the 2 things in mind that I spoke of before, looking for Jesus and listening to what He is saying to you today. And some of the chapter titles, they are all directives, they're action verbs about what we can do today in light of this prophecy in the book of Revelation. And some of the chapter titles are envision, persevere, prepare, worship, that might be my favorite, pray, choose, rise, acknowledge. And the last 2 are dwell and begin. So every day when you read the chapter in Forever Matters, you will hopefully walk away with a very clear directive on how you can apply that chapter to your life. and what you can do personally to just become closer to Jesus and increase your relationship with Him. And that's really what it's all about, is our relationship with Him and just growing closer to Him and letting Him direct our path. And fear is not, part of what He wants for us.
Right.
And so I just feel like I hope that answers the question about what we will walk away with every day from each chapter.
Well, in each chapter, along with the devotional writing, you include 3 special sections at the end of each devotion that helps the person take the devotion more to heart. What are those sections?
We have a time to answer questions. There's 3 questions at the end of each chapter. And then there's a promise verse, what we are promised as a result of our faithfulness or just as a result of who God is. And then a prayer. And the prayer just really opens your prayer time. It's not a complete prayer. It's just an opening to a prayer, which includes a name of God in the prayer, a different name every day, which I just loved that. That was just I felt like that was something for me almost. Because
wonderful.
Just to see the different attributes of God and His power. And so it's an interactive devotional book, and you could actually use it as a Bible study or a small group or something like that, and there are your questions at the end. So hopefully that helps people really be able to interact and really feel it in their own lives.
Well, you mentioned possibly using it as a Bible study, and I read somewhere, I think, that there are actually video resources available that kind of relate to your devotional Forever Matters. Is that true?
That's true. So we have... you can listen to it on podcast, or we also have created a video podcast on YouTube. This is my co-author who wrote the other 2 devotional books with me, named Anna Nash. She was so kind and gracious to help me with this. And so we have talked through each and every chapter in the book of Revelation, as well as Forever Matters. And you just search what matters, let's talk about it, on YouTube or on any podcast platform. And that is a free resource. It's about a 20-minute discussion through each chapter. So it's 22 I said, 22 chapters. And so that's free for anyone who wants that. And you're welcome to go listen to that. And we talk through the details of each chapter in Revelation.
That's a wonderful gift to anybody that has an interest in the book of Revelation. So today I'm talking to Katy Shelton about her book, Forever Matters, How the Return of Jesus Completes You. So Katy, tell our listeners how they can find out more about this book, and mention a couple of the others, again, that you have written regarding the seasonal books.
So these books we have 3 so far in the series and 2 to go. But the 3 are Christmas Matters, How the Birth of Jesus Makes a Difference Every Day, Easter Matters, How the Resurrection of Jesus Changes You, and, of course, today's Forever Matters. And they are available wherever books are sold online. They're published by Ironstream Media. And, of course, the good old go-to is Amazon. So they're available at any of those places.
One more time, the book is Forever Matters, How the Return of Jesus Completes You, and we've been talking with Katy Shelton, and we do thank Ironstream and Katy for providing a copy of the book for us to talk about. Katy, it's been such a pleasure talking with you again today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Roberta. It's great being with you again today.
And if you missed any part of today's interview or would like to hear it again, you can now find it on your favorite podcast platform or through KNEO.org. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Roberta Foster on the Author's Corner. Join me again next time.